with scores of companies announcing they'll no longer be advertising on his show. But will they stick to their guns?
If you believe 2GB, it was these comments that led to Alan Jones's final warning.
I just wonder whether Scott Morrison's going to be fully briefed to shove a sock down the throat.
Any recurrence of commentary of this nature will result in the termination of his contract.
So when this similarly violent comment, also about New Zealand PM Jacinda Ardern, came to light yesterday...
Now I hope Scott Morrison gets tough here with a few backhanders. Hasn't got a clue, this woman.
It provoked fresh outrage, but it wasn't new. As Jones was quick to point out, that was from the same broadcast as the sock comment.
I've not made any new remarks. Friday, I apologised unconditionally for those comments.
But the controversy's proving too much for advertisers who've been targeted by activists and are now abandoning Jones in droves.
To those who say this is about free speech, they're absolutely right. Alan Jones was free to say what he wanted, and the advertisers are free to say, you know what, we don't want our brands near you.
And the brands are making a big deal about it. Koala has cut ties with Alan Jones.
We have pulled all advertising.
We have pulled all advertising from the show, and we pulled all our advertising from 2GB last
But
month.
will this last? Previous ad boycotts have been short-lived, with some advertisers returning once the outrage has died down. In fact, a 2012 boycott of Jones lasted less than a week.
I think if brands decide to return, it'll make them look like they're just virtue signallers and there's not a lot of substance in what they're doing.
So which brands will wait until everybody's looking the other way before quietly making a return to Jones's show?
Well, Toby Ralph is a marketing and political strategist. Toby, do you think any of these brands are just going to sneak back in when all of this is blown over?
Absolutely. There's a hard arithmetic here for them. Alan Jones has 17 to 18% of the breakfast audience in Sydney. The next closest is 11%. If you want Western Sydney and you want breakfast listeners, you need Alan Jones. So yes, they will.
I often wonder whether or not announcing the boycott is its own form of advertising, and if that is true, could you, as someone who knows this industry well, estimate how much it's worth in kind of advertising dollars to announce that you're not advertising?
It's probably worth more than advertising on Alan Jones at the moment. It's a pretty complicated set of arithmetic. On one side, you lose sales from the biggest breakfast audience there is. On the other side, you annoy a whole lot of Alan Jones listeners, but you thrill a lot of people who probably aren't listening to Alan Jones. How will that work out? Hard to tell. But people like Koala Mattresses are getting a lot of goodwill from it, and they'll probably turn a quid, I would think.
All right, so this idea that they get their advertising bang for their buck by not spending bucks, by boycotting, but then later go back and advertise, do you think that calculation in any way changes now with the online environment, with activists who have kind of been pushing this and might keep an eye on these advertisers in a way that previously that wouldn't happen?
Yeah, it does to a degree, but online activism and outrage tends to peak and then plateau and then drop off pretty quickly. It's pretty hard to get people to follow up on it, a month or two later, because their outrage tends to be exhausted.
Toby, if you want to talk good PR, take a look at this response from New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern.
I understand that he of course used to be closely linked to the Wallabies. So let's just say I think that revenge is best served through a Bledisloe cup.
Jacinda Ardern seems to be completely clear on what her brand is.
Yeah.
Did Alan Jones just pick the wrong target here?
Absolutely. It's like trying to mug Mother Teresa. It's just the wrong thing. And she's handled it magnificently. Congratulations to her.
And she just lost all of Australia, though, by that wide ride.
I was just happy she didn't talk about the netball, so well done, Jacinda.
All right, Toby, it'll be interesting to see what happens from here. Thanks for speaking with us tonight.
Great pleasure.
I think one of the points that didn't get made was the fact that there are still really large companies advertising with Alan Jones and 2GB, so people like the Commonwealth Bank. So whilst it's great that the smaller guys have pulled out, the big test is to see whether any of these really big companies pull out and stand by their word that they believe in inclusion and that they stand against this sort of disgraceful language.
But surely it would just mean that they're not actually punished by staying there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if they're not actually punished by it, then it's fine for people to be outraged, but the outrage isn't actually worth that
I
much.
think the point that Toby made was really good, which was that it's so hard to maintain that rage and to maintain that outrage, and I think companies are probably going to take advantage of that.
The big company in my mind, Koala Mattresses, they left, and we have exclusive footage of them leaving the Alan Jones Breakfast Show. Here they are. They left in droves. And that's why you need to put fitted sheets on your mattresses. That was actually a weird thing that was going viral today. Of these mattresses just got loose and you got to put fitted sheets on your mattresses.
We're going to a break, Marisa.
The Aussie Defence Force's plans to have a